Go. Hi, everybody. Don't mind us. We are getting ready to start the Medicare Cafe pre-chat. I have to admit, obviously we're not, well, I guess we are late. We don't even get to do a pre-chat this time. And I'll tell you why. I got distracted.
What?
I know that's a shocker. I know the fact that me getting distracted is so out of character. I'm usually very good at, staying on point, staying I got distracted because, if you guys don't know, one of the top dogs over at Etna, Medicare Supplement, Etna Continental, that supplemental company, Mr. Matt Ferret, he has a show called The Matt Ferret Show. It's a podcast. And a YouTube series combined. Well, I was actually a guest for him. I guess that would have been last week. Oh. Last week, and the episode launched today. So I got distracted because I was reading about it.
Oh, okay.
Reading what the nice things that were being said about me. So,
love that.
I mean, I'm being honest. I am very, very
Well, I am
vain.
also very proud of you for not telling me until now.
Until this moment.
Because now I need to go watch that.
I know! So, anyways, maybe we'll post a link to it. It is a consumer-facing. It's not agent-facing. It's a consumer-facing podcast. But was talking about, what can consumers expect to see in this AEP. So, maybe we'll post a link to it in the Medicare Cafe Facebook page, but I'm very excited. I'm feeling extra little special this morning. So welcome to the Medicare Cafe. As always, you are joined. My name is Olivia Richardson.
And I'm Clayton Clemens.
And today we're doing kind of just an Ask Us Anything, right? We're just kind of doing we are second week into the Medicare Cafe. No. We're in the 7th year of the Medicare. Actually, funny story, I think it was 2016. We are probably, how many years is that? 16, 17, 18, 19, 16,
4
17.
plus 3.
7.
Yes.
Okay. Well, our anniversary, Medicare's anniversary is right now. We started the Medicare Cafe during AEP in 2016. So happy anniversary to the Medicare Cafe! How exciting. But today we're basically 2 weeks into AEP. This is weird. People get confused. No, Olivia, AEP hasn't started. Are you drunk? A little. We consider AEP to begin October 1st because that is whenever agents can actually start marketing and hosting appointments, events, and things like that. So AEP does start October 1st. You just cannot collect applications from your consumers until October 15th.
It's like AEP season has started. The enrollment part hasn't yet.
Oh my gosh, that was really well said.
I do some things all right.
This one time. You did this one thing really well. So today what we wanted to do is just go over some updates, give you kind of what we're seeing after a full week into the AEP season. Kind of Spooky Girl. I kind of want to pumpkin spice latte. Season.
S-Z-N.
As season. Anyways, so what we'd like to do is just kind of give you some updates. And like I said, I'm very on task, on focus.
Yeah.
And then we want to just open it up for questions that you guys are having. So if you want to ask any questions, you can put them, we've never decided, we can put them in the question box that's either over there or over there, we're not sure. Or text this number right here. That is my cell phone number. So even if you're texting, if you're watching the recorded version of this, you can text us at any time and I should be able to respond to you. I may not have the answer, but I typically know the people that do have the answers. So so again, guys, start asking us those questions. But let me just ask you really quick. So you work on our agent resources team. Our agent resources team is responsible for being the front lines, the back office support, so help before, during, and after the sale. What are you kind of seeing right now that agents are we seeing that agents are waking up and being oh my gosh, rising from their coffins and being it's AEP, I need to get ready? And what are we seeing as a whole that agents are doing right now? So
the things that I've seen is a lot of that waking up and being oh yeah, AEP is a thing. I need to either... One, they're just making sure they want the renewals. So we're still getting people doing certs, which isn't the worst thing because they're at least doing them now.
True. And WellCare turned off the renewals and if you don't do them. So make sure if you are looking at that, make sure you're getting those done.
For sure. So that's a lot that I'm running into. But on the side of agents who are more ready to go, have their certs done, running into a lot of comparisons. People wanting to look at what the plan looked like last year versus this year, which I'm loving that they're already taking advantage of this time when they're not enrolling.
Sure. They're
to
just
start diving
into
and say, okay, this is final. what do I need to talk with my main clients about?
I love that. And that's what Carrie talked about. She says she spends the first couple nights of AEP the season building her own like spreadsheet to say like this is what the dental benefits are for like the areas that she's in. She does a lot of time to kind of familiarize herself with those plans.
And one of my favorite things that I've run into recently was an agent who's working heavily in the D-SNP market. Mm-hmm. She noticed the plan that they were on was not really getting any extra benefits, or it was making some changes going down.
Ooh, so not improving.
Not improving.
Okay.
Had a huge book of that, like 300-400 people on that book. Wanted to look at rolling them to a new plan this year, but she's been a bit of an expert on the first carrier, so she's got to learn a new carrier now.
Sometimes enrollment, unless you're using, well, I guess you can't use Medicare Center to enroll D-SNP and C-SNP.
Well, not so much the enrollment part that she's worried about. It's more so taking care of her clients and making sure that the doctors that they were used to is going to be a network.
How does this
new
benefits?
Card work?
Yeah.
How do I get them to use all these utilities?
What are they switching to?
So I was trying to leave it out, but
the people gotta know.
People gotta know. So big UHC book needing to look at moving to either Anthem or Etna.
My guess was Etna. Etna made a huge improvements this year on their D-SNP. Everybody's going after that D-SNP market
for sure, and Anthem has been like number 2 essentially in that D-SNP market for so long that comfortability. I think she's going to end up going that way because she trusts it longer term. Yeah. But UHC's dominated for so long that she knows this is exactly how the cards work. This is exactly
and the U
doctors.
Cards are the easiest with UHC. So it's kind of like, I think I would make sure I would ask my clients, like, do you like the convenience and the certainty, or do you want to try this and maybe get a couple extra things, at least for a year, knowing that those may not be there next year. Get why the getting's good.
So
you know what I mean.
I talked to her at the start of the season, almost preseason, about, okay, I need to make sure this is working. And now I talked to her earlier this week, which is yesterday.
That's a crazy thing. Time is a concept in AEP, right?
Like, it doesn't exist.
Time doesn't exist, but it's going all the time, but it also doesn't leave at all.
But now she's looking at, a lot of the clients aren't as worried as she thought they would be about the kind of changes of the plans and going down. So
they're a lot of them are willing to like stay put.
Yeah, because of the convenience. And they know it works. They know these things. Even if it goes down a little bit, it's still better than only being on Medicare and Medicaid. Just
a reminder that like United Healthcare, everybody's getting a new U card. Yep. That's a big thing because United Healthcare, they are. Honestly, there's a reason why they own the majority of the market share across the United States. I do know that a lot of people are looking to switch from UHC this year because other plans had really invested. I don't know how stable those other plans are going to be, but it's all like sometimes it is worth, even if it's just for a year, it is worth to kind of jump ship and then maybe even come back. So it's all about asking your clients, is convenience more important to you, or do you want to get why the getting's good? That is a legit question.
For sure, because there could be that big ancillary type benefit that's added to an MA plan that they say, you know what, let me go ahead and take advantage of that for a year and then take advantage for a year and then circle back because they have that freedom with AEP where Med Sup folks, it's like, nah, pick your thing. Hopefully you stay on this unless you're in like a Missouri or anniversary state, something like that. But
well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are getting some questions in both in the text line and here as well. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. And then because I imagine a lot of the questions that people are going to have are going to be things that we're going to update them on. So let's go ahead and address those. So Vicky asked, what is the best way to compare plans? All together now.
I'm super biased.
1, 2, 3. Medicare Center. We are huge advocates for Medicare Center. It is an Integrity-developed software that not only compares Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans, but it also saves and stores your clients' information, including drug information, pharmacies, providers that they use. It also will compare the plans based on how much they're going to spend annually on with that person. And again, you can make sure that it compares all carriers in that area, not just the ones that you have through an Integrity partner. So it is absolutely worth it. It works really, really well. Some really awesome updates this year, including Ask Integrity, which is Integrity's version of AI. It's basically like Siri, but for your CRM. Because again, we didn't even talk about, Medicare Center also has a built-in CRM that will track the statuses of your applications to let you know if you've lost any, if anybody is no longer enrolled with you, or if an application is pending for whatever reason. It tracks the status. But it has something called Ask Integrity. So like one thing, I was actually using it this morning, I was putting in a prescription and then Ask Integrity popped up and said, hey, this prescription is usually prescribed by a specialist. You don't have a specialist for this person. Would you like to look up, you might want to ask them about their specialist.
That's wild.
Yeah. And so like, it's a really, really cool platform that kind of takes the place of an administrative assistant, or at least delays you having to hire one.
Yeah. It seems like it's like a good double check method of just like, it will let you know, hey, did you double check this?
Yeah.
And you could be like, oh yeah, nope, didn't get that put in. But
yeah. Well, what it also will do, it'll take a screenshot whenever you do compare a plan for somebody and like enroll them. It'll take a screenshot. I say screenshot. There's a more technical. It'll take like a freeze frame. I don't know. Of what you have for that client. Because we do know like coming in January, drugs leave the formulary. Providers leave the directory. Things like that happen. And you have to come back and prove like, no, when we compared this the first time.
Isn't that what they call it?
Snapshot. When we compared this the first time, this is what the plan we enrolled you in. Here's why. It was the plan that suited your lifestyle, suited your wallet. So it'll also kind of like help CYA cover your assets if changes happen throughout the year. Saying, no, based on when we enrolled you in this plan, it was the right option for you.
Right. And that's always a good thing to check in. We can't really market OEP, but it's a great thing to check on clients, make sure everything's still looking good, because those changes could happen.
For sure.
Or, which was one of the update things, was looking at different provider networks. This is the time where they're either closing or failing to close those deals.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of that shuffle. It's always a last minute.
It's always.
So a lot of clients or agents are looking at that for their clients. Same idea is like, well, they're pending this contract. We can put you on this plan, and we want to make sure they're still on there. And then in OEP, you have the chance to go and check, or if they've lost a network that you really needed them to have, go back and fix it.
Michelle says, you have SAPs. If they don't like the new plan, mine are wanting to stay with UHC. That's true. Again, with Michelle, like if somebody's like, doesn't, like I'm kind of alluding to, like, should they stay with UHC because of the convenience and they know how it works, or should they try this new plan? Reminder that OEP only works for individuals who have a Medicare Advantage plan. So if they have a standalone PDP with a Med Sup starting January 1st, or through January 1st, OEP doesn't apply to them. So just keep that in mind. If you're OEP to kind of fix mistakes or kind of rearrange things, OEP is only for MA people.
For sure.
Pete asks, can you compare the plan years for the same plans? Absolutely. It's whenever you're on Medicare Center, it's just a toggle. You switch the effective date. So you can have the effective date, obviously, November, December, or January 1st. So you can just toggle those. It's really easy to do.
Pete, we haven't talked in a while. Give me a call. Let's look at it.
Pete. I love Pete.
Yeah.
Miss me some Pete. Michelle asks, do you have something to take? Do you have to do something to take the snapshot? All you have to do, Michelle, is either enroll the client in that plan, or you send them the quote. If you send them the quote, either text message or email, then it'll kind of say, like, here's what the quote looked like at the time you sent it.
Yeah.
When you enroll them in the plan, it'll also say, here's what the plan looked like at the time of enrollment.
Super nice. And it's really beneficial with that addition of tracking the application status.
Yes.
Because last year, I know that was something we spend a lot of time right around Thanksgiving to the end of the year or end of the season of checking applications, and having Medicare Center, a platform you're on every day, enrolling and doing it, giving that simple reminder. Now, is that something you could ask Integrity? Is that something you can ask Integrity? I'm trying to say, say, hey, Integrity Siri.
It's, hey, ask Integrity.
Yeah. Hey, ask Integrity. Do I have any pending applications?
Yeah.
And then we'll pull a list for you?
Sure will.
That's super helpful.
Yeah, it is literally. And again, it's in the beginning phases. Eventually, you can be like, hey, like eventually it's going to have ways like, hey, ask Integrity, can you role play this client with me? And you'll be able to role play appointments with Ask Integrity. And they'll look at the client's information and be like, the last time I mentioned this. Right now, if you're using it to either record your appointments face-to-face, or you're using the phone feature in there, then it'll actually say like, hey, can you summarize my last call with my client? Can you summarize what happened at the last appointment? So like literally like it's in the beginning phases, but what Ask Integrity is going to do is just unreal.
My favorite phrase was something I think you told me last year with Medicare Center was, this is the worst Medicare Center will ever look.
Yeah.
And it's so true because this year it's so much better and so much more like advanced than I thought it would even be anywhere close to.
Yeah, and then we're not even done.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, if you asked me today, I was like, today's the worst you're ever going to see it.
Right.
And it's mountains. I mean, we're in year 3 or 4 of Medicare Center, and the leaps and bounds that it goes through every single year is unreal.
Well, it's crazy to see a year of not having to deal with call recordings.
Oh my
All the different
gosh.
advancements that they probably wanted to make last
Yes.
year that they're like, cool, now we got that figured out.
Ask Integrity was one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Just
it
back
was
burner.
just everything had to get back burnered because they had to come up with a solution for the call recording. So which was really cool. I love that. I also want to say happy birthday to Terry.
Happy birthday,
Long
Terry!
time listener, not first time caller. Welcome, Terry. It's my mom's birthday today.
It is.
It is, yeah. So I will send you a video of my toddler singing happy birthday. He's gonna say grandma, but he really means Terry.
For sure. This is super random.
Okay.
What
else?
There was a random follower on Instagram that was something Ahern, and I was like, oh my god, Olivia's mom's following me. It wasn't. It was spam, and I was very disappointed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My mom has a Facebook page, and it has
Oh.
been inactive for the last 16 years.
Okay. Well,
She's.
if she could just go and be friends with me, that'd be nice.
I don't. She has really high standards, man.
That's
I don't know that. Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
He asked, how do you get the Medicare Center scope of appointments? So again, if you want to send a scope of appointment via Medicare Center, you do it through a client's profile. So either create a profile, you can add their cell phone number and email address in there. So that way you have the option to either text or email that scope of appointment to your client. And again, it does include cancer insurance on there. It says ancillary products. So if you use the Medicare Center scope of appointment, you do have the ability to talk about, dental, vision, hearing, hospital indemnity, cancer, home health care. The only thing that you really won't be able to talk about are going to be those financial products like annuities and life insurance.
For sure.
So, but you do have to, again, to answer your question, you do have to send it through a client profile.
Which isn't so bad. You create a profile for them, contact information, basic stuff that you're already going to have or need. And then when you're going to send it, it will keep track for you of that you had sent that client a SOA.
Right.
And then it will tell you if they had sent it back in or if they have a signed SOA.
Yeah. You'll get an email notification, and again, though it's cool they have the tagging, it'll auto tag that client or auto filter them as scope of appointment signed.
For sure.
So you can go ahead and be like, let me pull a list of all of my clients who have signed a scope of appointment. And if you want it to, it doesn't have to, but it does default to even tracking the 48-hour rules to help keep you compliant.
Right. That's what I was going to bring up next.
Sorry.
No.
Stealing all the thunder.
No, that's perfect. So I was going to say, okay, now you have to click something to not do that,
Yes.
correct?
Whenever you send a scope of appointment, it defaults to a little checkbox that says, please track hours for scope of appointment. And if you have that on, it won't let you actually fill out your portion of the app until after 48 hours. But if you uncheck that, because if it's a walk-in or a call-in situation, you can uncheck that and you can proceed with the scope of appointment as normal.
Awesome.
Just know that it is timestamped. So if you didn't wait the 48 hours and you get audited, it's going to show that you didn't wait
Will
the
even
48
let you
hours.
do anything?
If you have it checked, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, another question I have from Arnie. He says, he doesn't say Arnie. I say Arnie. Arnie says, what about RetireFlow? So yeah, we got a question last week, or I kind of mentioned it last week, this program that we're looking at called RetireFlow. It is one that is honestly incredible for the pre-appointment process. You send your clients a link, they fill out their name, their medication, and it does like the auto filtering stuff too, so it'll like default to the most likely prescribed. It'll like auto, because like no one knows how to spell a medication.
Right.
I can't say it, let alone spell it.
It's Scrabble.
Exactly. So like honestly, like just throw lists on a board or letters on a board, and that's a medicine.
For sure.
So it does that. It collects the scope of appointment. It collects the permission to contact. It collects provider information. It basically handles everything you need for an appointment for a Medicare Advantage or PDP sale. I have a couple agents that are actually utilizing it based off last week's thing, and they said that it's just a huge time saver. It's been really, really working for them.
So sounds like a pre-made intake form.
It is
type
an
thing?
intake form, but it's CMS approved. And it's HIPAA compliant. So it's encrypted. You don't have to worry about people stealing the information. If you get audited by a carrier and they're asking where you got this from, you are completely safe. It is a CMS approved system that you can plug into. It's $50 a month, but with Senior Marketing Specialist, you get a significant discount. It's actually only $30 a month for us if you use promo code SMS, all caps. So getting a lot of good feedback from that. And again, I think we're going to see, it's hard to like push it right now because during AEP, we're like, don't do new things.
Right.
But like this is something, especially if you have a book of business that you're like, I don't know how I'm going to reach out to everybody to collect this information. This handles a lot of that for you.
I like that.
Yeah. So great question, Arnie. Some more questions I have here. She knows a lot about bad looking. Oh, Brian, you just get me. Thank you. What is the easiest way to count the number of plans we offer for the CMS recording? So again, we do know the CMS disclaimer saying that you have to say, I represent X amount of plans out of X amount of plans available. Couple ways that you can do that. Number one, if you have all of your Medicare Advantage contracts through Integrity Partners, Medicare Center actually calculates that. All you have to do is go to your client's profile, click script, and it pre-calculates how many plans that you offer out of how many plans are available. The reason why you have to have all of your contracts through Integrity Partners, obviously we want it to be us, but it's because that's how they calculate it. They use your ready to sell status to calculate that. So if we don't have the contract, we can't count that in your counts. So that's one way.
That's one way. The other way is less fun, but it's going to the CMS landscape and then filtering off, go to your state and then filter off the different carriers that you offer and then start counting that number.
Yes.
But you have to do it on MA, you have to do it on S&P and the PDP landscapes.
Yes.
And a big question I get is, well, how am I supposed to know who's calling me and what recording to, or what disclaimer to give them?
Yeah.
Medicare Center is great because it will tell you where they are. However, let's say that you like to do like a pre-recorded message, and that is your...
I'm sorry.
I tried so hard to not
You
look
did
at the
really
screen.
well.
I was like,
You
I'm going to
did
stay
really
right
well.
here.
I mean, listen.
But like looking at just the state as total, because like if you have a pre-recorded message, you don't know who's calling in and what county. But if you have that good faith effort of looking at the state and say, in the state, like let's say in the state of Missouri, I work with 7 carriers that offer 200 something plans. That's a great show of faith that you're showing, because technically you do represent all of those carriers.
Do your best.
Yep.
Don't get caught up in the details. Honestly, that's like what our compliance officer says. I checked out there for a minute. I don't know if you could tell.
Just
but I'm back.
It's running in.
I'm back.
Oh, you checked out.
I checked out mentally.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
Don't act like you weren't impressed with that.
I was. That's why I was trying to focus on the little like black bar here.
Just do the best that you can do. If you're showing that you're giving a good effort and trying, then don't say up. I literally had an agent ask me, should I just not get new clients this year? Should I just stick with my normal book of business and try not to grow this year? No, please just do your best. You guys, CMS isn't going to come out and start pulling licenses because you're off by 10 to 100 plans.
What? You said
Absolutely
you offer
not.
100 plans and it's 102?
It's 102.
Get out of here. Get out of the industry.
Leave. No, just do the best that you can. Again, even just using the Medicare Center, a way of doing it.
Yeah.
Do the best that you can, guys. We're all good people here. We have nothing to worry about. Now, if you're threatening to break hips and straight up lying to seniors, then maybe you deserve to lose your license. But I don't think that's what's happening here. You guys are good people. We're all friends here. The reason why Brian put Push It Real Good is because years ago, he's a longtime listener, all the time caller as well. Mike and I used to talk about how if I hear something that is a lyric,
yeah, you got to finish it.
I have to sing it. I have to go for it. And so every once in a while, Brian will put out there just some crazy lyric, and then I'm like,
is that what started?
You bought the ticket, man. Now take the ride. Michelle says, why can't we upload a Scopo appointment in Medicare Center like you can in Medicare app? Because Medicare Center's not there yet. Honestly, that's the only good answer I have. Right now, Medicare Center doesn't have the ability to have you upload things for the platform to store it. That is changing. So here, hopefully, after the first of the year, we will be able to actually start being able to upload those and have there, even when it gets to the point where you can upload the call recordings, you can upload other apps, I'm just not looking, you can upload a bunch of other stuff. It's just not there yet, but it will get there.
Trying to let Brian win.
Don't let Brian win. Awesome. Okay, so what other questions do we have here? Let me see. Oops. One question that we got is regarding the events and how events happen this year, because we do know that there's a ton of changes happening. I say a ton. really a couple, but very significant changes.
Good changes.
Good changes happening to the educational events and how educational events are ran. We're getting a lot of questions about how are sales events changing and the differences between that. So I know you answered this question earlier this week. So you want to take this?
For sure. So
I'm going to check out again.
Okay. I will not look at you.
Okay.
You do your thing.
Yeah.
So the biggest changes to the events world is on the educational side. So we don't have to worry about it a ton for our registered sales events, as not many things have really changed. Anything of substance, like can you have a scope of appointment for people? Can you set at appointments? Can you have business cards, permission to contact? Whatever you might need at a sales event is still okay. Those things have changed, however, on a educational event. The main kicker, I think, that would be a change for a sales event would be you can't do it within, I'm going to get this wrong, but 24 hours? Or is it 12 hours?
It's 12 hours. You can't do it within 12 hours.
Yeah.
Don't do a sales event immediately following an educational event, which people used to do because they're like, the reason why people used to do it is because you can't advertise a sales event as an educational event. That's not new. That's been forever. You can't say, come learn about Medicare at my sales event. You can't do that. You have to say, come learn about United Healthcare's PPO plan. And so people would have the educational event to get the crowd there. They would do a Medicare 101, and then they would post up literally right outside that at a booth and start enrolling people. Yeah. Can't do that this year.
So that's the biggest change that really affects a sales event. As far as if you're only doing a sales event, not much is different. Keep doing your thing. Those are amazing.
Okay.
I had a question about the scope of appointment part, and I said, oh, please get those scope appointments out there.
Yes, that was another question that we had on here was, what about scopes at these sales events? So keep in mind, when you're doing a sales event, either at a formal sales event where you're doing a seminar and your people are learning from you, or you're doing a booth, a non-formal sales event where you're like a booth at like a Walmart or sort of kiosk at a pharmacy. Keep in mind when people, if it's a registered sales event, you can take applications right then and there. You do need a scope of appointment if you're actually going to talk and do an appointment at that time. You do need a scope of appointment. However, it's considered a walk-in, so you don't have to wait the 48 hours if you're going to take the application right then and there. Yeah. Now, where some confusion is getting is, okay, what if they're saying, okay, I don't want to enroll right now, but I do want to talk to you. Can we talk later on today? Then if you are setting an appointment, the 48-hour rules do apply. So unless you're taking the application right then and there at that booth or at that event, 48 hours waived. If you're setting the appointment for later, you have to wait the 48 hours. But always get a scope. There is never a situation where you do not need a scope of appointment if you're talking to a client about their benefits.
Yeah, just the hour part changes.
Yes.
I will add one little note for our folks that are newer to events world, getting out there and doing their thing. Just don't be disappointed if not a lot of people show up. It's something we mention all the time. We're talking events is just if you're starting to do this, keep at it, keep building on that success.
Yes. Takes a little bit to kind of grow your presence and grow that. Like anything, all good things come with time. But keep in mind, if you're advertising your events good, then like even if no one shows up, it's still worth doing because you're advertising it on your social media. You're promoting yourself out there. People are seeing your message, your brand, your logo, and it's building awareness and familiarity towards you. So as long as you're advertising it and making the most out of that, if one person shows up, it's still worth doing it.
For sure.
Got a question. It was a good question.
Well, easy.
From Anonymous. You might have told me your name. No, it's always been Anonymous. No. You address everything nicely. Thanks. When our clients and prospects are available via internet or smartphones, what do they do if they do not have that type of contact? So if you're talking to somebody they don't have or they don't use an email address and they maybe don't have a smartphone, which is less and less likely every day, but it still absolutely happens. Or like maybe you're in a situation where you don't have internet connection, right? If you're not face-to-face with your clients, no big deal. If you're going to do a sales appointment not face-to-face and you're over the phone, and you have to record that call. Any sales call has to be recorded. So making sure that you're doing it on a recorded line. But keep in mind, you can mail scope of appointments and applications. So you still would need the scope of appointment in 48 hours in advance. So you can mail that if you need to. Of course, face-to-face, obviously this changes everything. I'm assuming you mean non-face-to-face. But again, reminder, you can continue to mail Medicare Advantage applications. Just make sure that you don't sign it. You fill out the application. don't sign your part of it. You send it to the client. I would recommend that you send them a pre-filled out envelope to mail it back. They sign it. You'll need a wet signature. They sign it. They mail it back to you, not to the carrier. You sign it and then send it to the carrier. The reason why we suggest doing it that way is, one, you need a double check to make sure all the information has been filled out correctly. And two, the Medicare Advantage companies require that you submit applications within 48 hours of the agent signature. So even if like there's like a 10-day difference between your signature and their signature, that's fine because you mailed it. The 48-hour timer starts from your signature. So that's why we recommend doing it that way.
Great little tip that I think you said real fast there. I want to make sure everybody caught was go ahead and pre-fill out a return envelope for them so they don't send it directly to the carrier. So they know where to send it. They don't have to worry about that. They just put it in there, mail it back to you. I think that's a really good tip there.
Yeah. So it is 10:30. I think we covered all the questions. I know there was a lot of questions submitted ahead of time. So maybe we'll do another Ask Us Anything next week. Carrie will be back. So it'll be me and Carrie doing an AMA. But obviously we know, Clayton, with you being the one that you're working with literally hundreds of agents per day. Thank you so much for giving us your input and what you're seeing out there. Yes.
So have to submit that application. We got the question here of about the agent's signature on the applications. Have to submit it to the carrier 48 hours or within 48 hours of the agent signing the application. So client signs it 2 weeks ago, mails it back to you. It finally gets there because snail mail's the worst.
It is.
It gets there. You sign it, submit it to the carrier within 48 hours. Yep. That's what it's going to take for the carrier to accept that application.
Yep. Some carriers is actually 24 hours. I'm looking at USilverScript. Obviously, Etna, PDP, they require 24-hour turnaround. Most carriers are 48 hours. So, from the agent signature. Awesome. Guys, next time we talk, we'll be into the enrollment season of Medicare, the AEP. So we're excited. Again, this is my phone number. So if you have any questions, you can text me directly here, and I'll make sure I respond to you throughout the week if you're watching the recorded version of this. But hopefully we're able to address a lot of your questions. The biggest thing, guys, is don't overcomplicate the compliance. I mean, just do your absolute best, and you're gonna do okay. Don't overcomplicate it.
For sure.
So, any last words of advice? That's
No.
kind of daunting. It's
No.
scary.
Big deep breath.
What are you going to be for Halloween?
What am I going to be for Halloween? I don't want to tell you.
Try not to take that personally.
No. Are we doing, when's Halloween? What day?
The 31st. I think the 31st is like on a Tuesday, though. So we'll do like that Friday.
Oh.
Oh.
I wanted to wear my costume.
Well, maybe we can do a
I'm popping into the cafe on that week with my costume. No, I'm doing it.
So we'll see you next time, guys. Until then, Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Again, make sure you check out our Facebook page. We'll be getting on there. We might post that episode of the podcast, Matt Barrett Show, where I talk about this year's AEP. So until next time, have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
This part's the always